Thank you for joining our Imagery International program. We hope you found it stimulating. ImageryInternational.org.
There. So welcome everyone tonight. Looking forward to the spiritual wisdom of the divine feminine tonight with Eve Delunas. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Eve. She's a licensed marriage family therapist and a PhD, and she has decades of experience in using imagery to activate and enhance spiritual growth. Eve is the author of New Science, New Brain, New You. It's a do-it-yourself guidebook for using imagery to open to your greatest potential. And she also is, she didn't mention the other books, but I've got a couple of her books right here. Whoops. These are a couple of other books that Eve has written. She's amazing. If you've ever heard her talk, you know, and she also has a virtual school that she calls Transformation U, and that's with the letter U. And she teaches how imagery processes can be used to accelerate our spiritual growth, raise our vibration, excuse me while I let another person in, and open to new potentials and possibilities for experiencing abundance of every kind. I also want to mention that I'm thrilled that she's also going to be presenting at our October conference. She's going to be leading us in a session called From Ego to Essence, Imagery as a Doorway to Spiritual Transformation. And so I will also share with you, and we can put that, I'll put that in chat. She's got two websites. One is transformationu.net. Again, that's with the letter U.net. Or you can find more information about Eve at evedelunas.com. And I just wanted to also announce our next, save the date, August 8th for our next webinar with Randy Casper. And also save the date, and I'm sure you guys have seen the emails about our conference Halloween weekend. It's going to be virtual, October 29th through the 31st. And I'll share more about that after. And with that, Eve, I'll turn it over to you. Welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you. What a wonderful introduction. And I have to say, folks, Maureen is a treasure in this Imagery International organization. She is really the heart and soul and glue of the organization. I've seen that, having been involved for a number of years now. So thank you, Maureen, and thank you for everything you do, because I can't tell you how many times I've written her with questions, with concerns, with how do I do this, or what do we do about that, or you name it. So she's a part of everything that happens in this organization. So
thank you. I'm happy to help, of course.
Thank you for that, Maureen. Really, it's wonderful that you're here. So today, as you see, I'm going to be talking about, and we will be opening to the gifts of the divine feminine. So let's look at what we're going to be covering here. And I thought it'd be good to start by asking the question, why do we want to open to the divine feminine? What makes that an important something to do? Talk about then the gifts that the divine feminine has to offer us, and some of the images we associate with the divine feminine. And all of that will be taking up probably the first 20 minutes or so. And then we're going to go into a guided meditation.
Hold on.
What's that?
I think Maureen forgot to press the record button.
I saw that you're recording. I mean,
thank goodness. Okay.
It asked me if I was okay with being recorded.
Yeah, I am. Okay, thank you.
Came on,
thank you.
Maureen, yeah, it came on saying it's recording, and I could see the red light.
I'm famous for that. That's the one thing that.
Sorry, I just freaked out for a minute.
No, you really did. You already did it. Anyway, then we'll go into an imagery exercise, and we will actually go and open to some of the gifts of the divine feminine if you choose to participate, and have some time to process that and talk about what your experiences were. So that's what I have planned for our hour. So we have kind of a lot that we're going to be doing this hour, mostly experiential, but first kind of setting the stage. And so why open to the divine feminine is where we're going. Well, I think that it's really important to remember that thousands and thousands of years ago, the divine feminine was a big part of life, of many, many, many cultures honored the divine feminine and made that a part of their spirituality, their celebrations. And those cultures were very different from ours, as you might imagine, as cultures in which they honored the sacred feminine within each and every one of us. And over the last couple of thousand years, that has changed dramatically for much of the Western world, at least. There are still cultures like the Native American cultures, the Aboriginal cultures that honor the divine feminine, but many, many, many of our cultures have basically forced the divine feminine to, the word that comes to mind is go underground, because they, the belief is that they found the divine feminine threatening in both men and women. It was difficult to have power over people if those people looked within to their divine feminine guidance to find their answers, to decide what's right and wrong for them, to guide them in their lives. It was much easier to guide people when that part of us, or that those lines of connection to that internal source of wisdom and guidance and intuition and knowing was closed off. So for years, for thousands of years, lots was done in order to devalue, to squelch, to silence, to attack the divine feminine, until it truly had to go underground for many, many, many people, because for a long, long time, men and women alike were crucified, burned at the stake, murdered, thrown into lakes to drown. Really, in many, many, many ways, they were persecuted, punished, and the message was sent out that if you connect with this part of you within, then you are you're in cahoots with the devil. You're a witch, you're bad, you're evil, you're dangerous, and you need to be killed. So, not surprisingly, our culture has gone from one extreme to the other in terms of how we view life and spirituality and ourselves. And as a result, we have a very out of balanced world that we live in. I don't need to point out to you some of the ways our world is out of balance. The materialism, the focus on external authority, the focus on militarism, on CEOs making more than, corporate CEOs, and making a whole lot more money than teachers or child care workers. I mean, our world is basically designed with the idea that that the patriarchy is, the values of the patriarchy are the values that are held in esteem in our culture. Not by everyone, but by and large, by the way that the culture is run, and our cultures, many of our Western world cultures are designed. One of the fallouts from losing contact with the divine feminine and devaluing the divine feminine is that the more masculine view of the world that many of us take, whether we're feminine or female or masculine, men or women, is that of seeing nature as something separate from human beings and something to be conquered, something to be used, something that is there for the benefit of humanity, and not really recognizing that we're all connected, that the earth is a living being, that all of nature, it includes humanity, but the human being is not separate from that. And of course, we know the result of that kind of thinking. So I'm probably preaching to the choir here. I think you probably understand these things, but I just wanted to point out that I think that as we embrace the divine feminine, we will heal our world. I think it is the ingredient that we need the most to connect with in order to heal the world's ills, in order to regain that sense of balance, in order to realign ourselves with the natural world. And I see that the more of us who open to the divine feminine within us, the more that all of humanity benefits, because we are all connected. We are all one. As Jung told us, we have this collective unconscious, and we all feed into that collective unconscious. So every time one of us opens more fully to the divine feminine, we actually make a difference in our world and how our world moves forward. So that's my belief. And so therefore, I think that what we're doing here goes way beyond the personal. But that doesn't mean the personal is not also relevant and important, because it is. By the way, Albert Einstein, I love this quote, as you see. We never hear about Albert Einstein saying this, or at least I never did until I started learning more about the divine feminine, that he actually said the intuitive mind is a sacred gift and the rational mind is a faithful servant. And we've created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Isn't that beautiful? He's also made a lot of comments about all of his creative endeavors did not come from his rational mind. And our world of today that has dismissed the divine feminine really values the rational mind. And there's nothing wrong with valuing the rational mind. It's a great faithful servant, as Einstein says, but there's so much more than that to discover when you move into your divine feminine self. So what are the gifts of the divine feminine? Well, as you see here, I think one of the most beautiful gifts of the divine feminine is that we find our own inner authority. And we stand firm in our own knowing. I don't know about you, but all my life, regardless of how many degrees I have, how much I have accomplished, how many books I've written, how many lectures I've given, how many people I've counseled, there's been a part of me that doubts myself, and that always second guesses myself, and that always thinks, I don't know if I should say this, or I don't know if I can trust what I think I know about this topic. And I have interestingly noticed this in many, many, many women I know, and women I know who are absolutely remarkable, amazing human beings. Women who are some of the most gifted, brilliant, creative people I have ever met um, on this planet, uh, doubt themselves. And as I've looked around, I don't see as many men suffering from that. I've had lots of male clients, and certainly some men do, but I think it's more an affliction with women. And I think one of the reasons is because we've lost our connection to the divine feminine. And I think that we've lost our knowing that we are the authorities in our own lives, and we're not raised to believe that in our Western world. So I think we regain that when we access the gifts of the divine feminine, as well as gaining access to even greater intuitive wisdom, to deepen our compassion, to be even more creative than we currently are, and to recognize, truly recognize everything is sacred. Every moment in our lives is sacred. And the most simple, everyday moments and objects and situations are sacred. And certainly all of life is sacred. And I think that the divine feminine embodies that sense of the sacredness of all things, the sacredness of life itself. And as we connect more with the divine feminine, and I'm sure we've connected already to some extent with the divine feminine, each of us who's here, but as we really open even more to it, I think that we get to really enjoy these gifts at an even more powerful level for ourselves. So I want to share a beautiful quote that comes from a wonderful book I highly recommend if you've never read it, The Dance of the Dissident Daughter by Sue Kidd, who also wrote The Secret Life of Bees. This is kind of an autobiographical work of hers, and I love this quote from her. And I'm going to read it, but as you can read along too. When I use the term feminine soul, I'm referring to a woman's inner repository of the divine feminine, her deep source, her natural instinct, guiding wisdom and power. It is everything that keeps a woman powerful and grounded in herself, complete in herself, belonging to herself, and yet connected to all that is. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. So at this point, any comments or questions? Anyone? Any comments or questions? You can raise your hand. You can probably unmute yourself. There you go. Jan?
Oh, I just think what a wonderful world it would be, and I think we're evolving there. But for us to empower our young girls as they're growing into themselves to really honor and respect this within themselves, to whether it's to just see them in their beauty, whether it is to do a ritual for them as they come into their womanhood, and I because I think some cultures do this well, and I wanted to say it saddens me that we haven't had that, but I really don't want to get into the past, but really embellish the now, the opportunity now to celebrate the divine feminine with each young girl and within ourselves. If we didn't get it before, to claim it now, to grow it now, to just be that. So anyway, that's what came to mind.
Oh, Jan, I love that you said that. That is a beautiful, beautiful notion, a beautiful comment. And I couldn't agree with you more. I would add, I would like to empower every young male as well. You know, we really train our young men not to have feelings, not to have feelings. You know, our whole culture says you're not allowed to have feelings. And to be tough, and you know, all of the things that go supposedly with manhood. And I think that we train them to be totally disconnected from their inner selves, and this and certainly the divine feminine aspect of them, as well as in many cases the divine masculine aspect of them. So I think they could all use this, but absolutely, I think young women growing into someone who knows this before they enter adulthood, I mean, what a gift to give them. Yes. All right. Any questions or comments from anybody else yet? No?
I feel like I'm seeing that we are changing. You know, I feel like we're on, I feel like it's an evolution, and wherever it's been is perhaps how it needed to evolve itself. And that's a feminine perspective, is to bring compassion to that, you know, rather than condemnation and judgment. That, you know, look, we're a species, we're figuring out how to survive. And I'm seeing, at least my experience in my lifetime, women have shifted their roles in the society I live in pretty dramatically. And I'm seeing all kinds of changes in men. And so I feel as if in my lifetime, I'm seeing this flower begin to open up a bit. And so, and by people like you bringing to our consciousness, this whole subject matter is so important to our growth and our evolution.
I love that, Maureen. I have to agree. I agree completely. I worked for a while counseling Army families a few years ago, and I saw many of them, and I was so touched and moved and impressed by the young families, and especially, believe it or not, the young fathers, because it was a whole different scenario than how it was when I grew up.
Than our fathers.
Yeah. And I've seen so many changes. We have a long ways to go, but there are changes in the works already, and there have been so many along these lines, making us a more compassionate society, a more conscious society. So it's exciting. Thank you. Well, now I'm going to move on.
Darlene's got a question.
Oh, Darlene, I see your little poem up there. Yes.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm unmuted, right? Yeah. Yes, I just wanted to thank you, Eve, for, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, okay. For quoting this unusual quote from Einstein. I think it's so important to bring people's attention to someone who's associated with the rational. And he's also, of course, highly respected. Everyone quotes him, whether they're accurate quotes or not.
Yeah.
And, you know, the fact that he said this is a way of, if I were to put this out on the internet, for example, I think people who read it would be people who ordinarily don't think of honoring the intuitive first. They think of, you know, science first. So it's a way of opening people's mind to, oh, maybe things aren't quite the way I've thought they were. Maybe there's another way of looking at my experience in life, because Einstein happened to have that opinion. So I like quotes like this that kind of, you know, shake people's comfort level in terms of what they're thinking, what they normally think.
I do too.
Subtle way.
Thank you, Darlene. And I agree. And that's actually why I used it, because I think, I know this group is not such that they say, oh, rational thought is everything. But I think the fact that we don't associate Einstein with this quote because of the way our culture has focused on the rational intellect as being all that is and all that matters. Thank you. Yes, I'm glad you appreciated it. Let's go then. Before we do our imagery exercise, I'm about to have us do that in a minute. But I also would like to ask you all to type in the chat box, what is an image that comes to your mind when you think of divine feminine? If you would type that in the chat box, that would be great. What is an image that comes to you when you think of the divine feminine? Just any image. It can be obviously anything. And it could be something, a sound, it could be a song, it could be a picture, it could be a person, it could be whatever. Okay, my inner advisor, Venus of Willendorf, yeah, that famous statue, Venus of Willendorf, Our Lady, Mother Earth, my inner advisor, I just read both of those, Lotus, a lotus, great. Somebody said water, beautiful. Pele, oh yes, Pele. The Marys, meaning maybe Mary Magdalene and Mary, Mary Divine Mother. Is that, yes, okay. Anybody else? A goddess image, a goddess image. I think I read everything. Yeah. Okay, very good. A tree. Mm-hmm. Women in nature in her, woman in nature in her glory. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Yeah, and we all, as you know, have our own unique way of connecting with these different parts of ourselves, and that will include this divine feminine. And what I would like to do now is I would like to do a guided meditation with you, and I will invite you to indeed connect with the divine feminine within yourself. And I'm going to guide you through about a 20-minute guided meditation. What time is it right now? Yeah, we'll have maybe between 15 and 20 minutes. And you can, if you have your cameras on, you can turn off your cameras if you like during this guided meditation and just turn them back on when the meditation is over. I'm going to turn my camera off during the meditation. And what's important during this meditation is that you relax and enjoy yourself. So I'm not going to play music because it's hard to do and make sure the sound is okay. So it will be without music, but there will be the music of the voice within you. So are there any questions before we start the guided meditation? Anybody has a question? All right, then why don't you make yourselves comfortable? I'm going to stop my video and I am going to just get something out here for myself. All right, everyone. Begin now by closing your eyes, taking some slow, deep, gentle breaths, and inviting the energy of Gaia, Mother Earth, to come up into your body, grounding you during this meditation. You might actually feel her energy because Gaia does know you personally. She knows each and every one of us. And if you don't feel anything, that's okay. Just be open and know she's responding to you. I invite you to put your attention in the area of your heart and begin breathing a little slower and a little deeper into and out of your heart center. Following your breath all the way in and down into your heart, into that center surrounding your heart. Like a gentle breeze blowing through your heart center. And then slowly, easily exhaling and following the air back up and out. Perhaps noticing the change in temperature. Focusing on each breath and as you breathe into and out of your heart center, feel yourself preparing for a very special journey. A journey in which you have the opportunity to open even more fully and completely to the divine feminine within you. As you relax deeply, as you allow yourself this time for you, there is nothing to do but be present with each breath. And should your mind wander, be gentle with yourself as you bring it back to the point of focus. Take a moment now to bring to mind something that you are grateful for. This may be a person, a four-legged friend. It may be a place, an experience you've had. It can be anything you feel grateful for. And allow yourself to really feel that gratitude. Not just thinking it, but really feeling it. Allow that gratitude to resonate like a beautiful note throughout your being, touching every one of your billions of cells. With this vibration, this note of appreciation, deep, deep appreciation. You are here today because your divine feminine self is calling to you. She has blessings and gifts to share with you that have been yet undiscovered by you. She wants you to know that you have only opened to a fragment of what is available to you. For her gifts, her gracious, loving, compassionate gifts go beyond your wildest imagination. For these are ancient gifts that are ready, if you wish, to awaken within you. It is time, she says, time for you to know your true self, your beauty, your depth, your power, your essence, your light, your wellspring of creativity. The power to create a new world. And all you need do is be open. Be open to discovering, uncovering, recovering what she has available for you, specially curated for who you are in this moment of time, for where you are at in your life journey, for what would serve you best. If you wish, you can ask or invite this divine feminine self to be present with you right now. However she presents herself. There are countless ways you may see something, feel something, hear something, sense something. Whatever way she presents herself to you is perfect for you. You may Feel her energy. Notice how she feels, this divine feminine self. She, above all else, brings unconditional love for you. Perhaps she has something to tell you, to communicate to you in some fashion. Perhaps you have something to ask her. Take time now to listen, to feel, to sense, and know that whatever happens or doesn't happen is perfect for you. Each of us is unique. Know that you are gaining access to divine feminine gifts, no matter what, if you choose to. And you may also choose not to. You are in control of the process. You may or may not have awareness of what she is awakening within you, what blessings she brings you, what new consciousness, new energy, new possibilities and potentials for you in this lifetime. At this time, it is important that you exchange whatever needs to be exchanged to complete your current meeting with this aspect of your being. And then I invite you to feel yourself in your body, in this time and space reality, preparing to come back to our meeting, opening your eyes, remembering everything that transpired, noticing how you are feeling. Returning to this time and space reality as you open your eyes and feel clear-headed, refreshed, and alert. All right, everybody. Everybody should be coming back slowly. And I'm going to, in a moment, ask Maureen to put you in dyads, where you can go to a meeting room, and you'll have about 6 minutes to share what, if you want to, what your experience was during that guided imagery. And we'll call you back in about 6 minutes and have time just to share a little bit as a group and complete our meeting. So if you can divide everybody up now, Maureen, that would be great.
All right. So, okay. So I'll say 6 breakout rooms, right? Because there's 12, right?
Okay.
And then it's assigned automatically. Now, where is it that you put in the time?
I don't know.
Okay. So I'm going to say create
Uh-huh.
and see what happens. Let's see. Okay. Right on. I think it worked. So let me look for options, because I think that's where I put in the time. Breakout rooms to close automatically after 6 minutes, right?
Yes. And you'll get a little warning when the breakout room is about to close.
Okay, I'm going to hit it, you guys. Enjoy. I guess you have to join. Wow. Wow, I get to be with you? How awesome. I didn't think I was going to get to be in a room because I'm host. So you know what? You're on mute. You're on mute.
I'm so glad I'm with you because I love you, and also because I might get kicked out of here. I've been kicked out 2 times so far since Eve's been talking.
Oh,
So
darn.
if I go away, just don't worry about it, because
Well, okay.
I'll be back.
Well,
So
well, great. I get to see you on your birthday. Happy birthday. And tell me, you get to go first. Tell me about your experience about the goddess. What was your vision?
okay, well, she came like the lady in red.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Somebody's needing help. Join
that's
breakout
okay.
room.
It's all right.
Christine asked for help. So I don't know what that, I'm just going to say join breakout room. I don't know what to do.
You do whatever you need to do, dearie.
Great. And you're on mute, Eve.
Here we go. Okay. So everyone is back, and anyone, let me see if I can see everyone. I can see a gallery view now. There we go. See everyone who's here. So anyone want to share anything about that experience, or anything else that we've talked about in this hour together? Anybody?
I guess for me, it's just that how false it is to think that we can be anything other than connected, and that we are an extension of that Gaia, of that divine feminine, and just that how beautiful that extension is, and that it is ubiquitous, and it's so powerful and so much bigger than us and how we're seeing the world, and how we're seeing our own reality. It's so much bigger than that. And to trust in that progression.
Beautifully said, Maureen. Absolutely. Yes.
For me, when we start the exercise, I think immediately of the divine feminine as Our Lady. And was a little too, I need to return, it's not Gaia, it's Our Lady. And I already put the image of Our Lady in front of the computer. So for me, Our Lady is the image of the divine feminine, and it have been always.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate very much to the Divine Mother, and Mary certainly represents the Divine Mother. When I had you imagine Gaia coming up into your body, it wasn't because you had to picture Gaia as the Divine Feminine then. It was just, I always start meditations with imagining Gaia coming up into my body or somebody else's, because it's good to ground before we do other things, that's all. And it's a wonderful feeling to connect with Gaia. And certainly you can also envision Gaia as the divine feminine, but certainly Our Lady or someone or something else is whatever. Everybody's different, and what's important is that you find what works for you. Yeah.
And I think that the divine feminine have many faces, and each open to each one of us.
Yes.
We don't have limits. We put the limits.
Yes. Yeah, we do. We put limits on divine feminine, on ourselves. One of our biggest problems is that we limit ourselves so much. We're trained to limit ourselves in what our potential is, what's possible for us, who we are, what we can do or can't do. And I'm all about, I had the wonderful privilege of studying with Milton Erickson in person in the year before he died. And he was a famous hypnotherapist and MD. And one of his famous lines was, what all of us need to do is unlearn learned limitations. And I think that that's absolutely where it's at. We spend a good part of our life unlearning learned limitations. And we don't even know we're limiting ourselves at first. And then we discover it. And then as we let go of them, it's amazing what we discover about ourselves. And I think this divine feminine energy is a beautiful way to make those wonderful new discoveries about ourselves. So thank you, Paz. It's a great point. Anybody else? I think we're just about there. Yeah, time-wise. Anyone else want to make a final comment? Okay, Christine, yeah. You have to unmute yourself. Oh, she's still muted.
Hi.
There you go. Here you go. Okay.
Not too tech savvy. I just wanted to comment on the power of intentionality. Just the whole meditation experience introduction was just to separate ourself or oneself or myself from all these distractions and really just a concentrated inward focus and how powerful that is. So I just wanted to say thank you. It was really, really very, very well done and very effective.
Oh, good. Thank you. I like hearing that. And yeah, intention is everything. It is everything. Intend to connect with the divine feminine. Intend to open to parts of yourself you didn't even know you had. Intend to develop your potential to optimal levels. Intend to open to guidance and information about yourself that can be helpful. But setting those intentions is the really important key. You're right.
And I think too, what I wanted to say about that, it was more phenomenological, where you just get to the source, you get to a core essence of what the experience is when you put aside all these other distractions.
Yes. Yeah. Beautifully said. I love that. Core essence.
And I had the good fortune of being in a breakout room with Christine, and she had this wonderful image. If you want to share about the leaf, that was so.
Oh, it was so simple. It was just this leaf, this big leaf, on a small landscape is all I had a visualization of. But my ego just said, "Oh no, well, what about your inner advisor?" Or, "Oh, well, what about your favorite image of the sunflower?" And I just, again, was just led to that intentionality experience. And I don't know what it means yet, but of course, it's something that is going to be an entry point into something big. So I'm all excited.
How beautiful. Oh, that's exciting. Yes. And isn't it funny how our minds like to criticize and judge and decide, oh, this isn't right, or it should be something else. And it's always perfect. It's always perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that was very powerful, Eve. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you all for your participation, and I wish all of you all the best. So I guess we can close our meeting. It's about 5 after. So it's probably time.
Thank you for joining our Imagery International program, imageryinternational.org.